Hey guys. Hey guys. I hope you're having an amazing day. I wanted to answer a question that I get quite often. Gosh, it's beautiful out here. Come on, Zena. I can always hear where Zena is because she's always trying to pick up the biggest rock, and I hear her whining from who knows where. Come on, Zena. So I wanted to answer a question that it's a little deep. So here's the question. So many people will ask me, how did you start? Not like what did you sell first? What did you buy first? Like, what was the decision that made you take this risk? What was the decision? Because I really, like, some of you don't know, but the pain that I felt from taking this risk for a long time. We're talking broke, guys, like really broke, we're talking like, I remember, and this is so sad to say, but I remember the very vivid feeling and the very vivid thought of like not being able, while being on the road for the first year, by not being able to afford all my dogs. Like, what would I do if I couldn't afford my dogs? And I would just build up all this stress and anxiety. So why do that? Why put myself in that position, right? Why give up my very well-paying job and ruin my relationships with the people who provided that job for me and my mentors and stuff like that? Like, I really put myself in a tough spot for quite a while. And the reason I did that is this. It was the fear of death. And I used to, growing up, I remember, I don't know why this is the case, but I want to tell you a quick story. I remember when Frank Sinatra died. All right, not a lot of people know this story, but I remember I was on my parents' bed and I was watching the TV and Frank Sinatra died. And I remember like not understanding what death was. And I remember asking my mom, like, what do you mean? Like, he died, what does that mean? And she's like, he died. That's how, like, he's died, like he's not here anymore. And I said, well, where did he go? And she was like, it depends who you ask. She's like, hopefully he went to heaven, but we're not sure. And I remember that uncertainty, that answer was one of the worst experiences of my life. I was around 7 years old, I think. And I remember just being like, does that happen to everybody? She's like, yeah, of course. Thinking that I already knew, that I've already had this talk with someone, but I hadn't. So I was petrified. Come on, guys, let's go. I was like, well, what's going to happen to me? And I remember asking everybody that I met, like an obsession. It was like OCD, asking everybody, what happens? And I wanted to believe, of course, like people who very strongly believe that you go to heaven, it's like, man, that must be good. That must be nice. But I always would ask, like, how do you know? And it would be not to disrespect anybody, but how do you know? And I would ask a lot of questions. Let's just say that, right? And I still do. But I had this fear, and sometimes I would have to like leave class. I would be in school and I would just get up and walk out. I would just have this anxiety about like what happens when I die or when I was going to die. And I always thought it was something, people always told me that I would outgrow it, and I never did. I still think about it sometimes, but I think about it differently now. And when I was around 28 years old, I remember I was at the shelter, and I would always say goodbye to the dogs that I was going to not see again, and I was doing my videos and stuff like that, and I remember just being like, this is like me. I remember thinking like, look, I'm waiting for my turn. These dogs are like waiting to go into the vet's office for the last time. I know this sounds kind of cold, but I remember for some reason I was like, you're waiting for your turn. And I said, Clyde, Loba. And I said, what the hell does that mean? I asked myself. It's like, you're waiting for your turn. That's why you're so afraid of death. You're waiting for your turn. And I realized, am I afraid of dying, or was I actually afraid of not truly living? Not truly living was what was causing the anxiety and the pain and the fear. Once I found my purpose, once I said, this is what I'm supposed to do, I want to inspire people to the best of my ability. I knew that. and I want to help animals, again, to the best of my abilities. I knew that. Unless I do those two things, I won't feel fulfilled. I won't feel like I'm living my life. I won't feel like I'm living my purpose, which I believe we all have one. And that's what made me do it. It was the fear of not it was the fear of not necessarily dying anymore. It was the fear of not living my purpose. And once I decided I wasn't just going to wait for my turn, like one of the dogs that I would care for at the shelter, once I decided I wasn't gonna just wait for my turn, my whole life changed. And it doesn't mean it's gonna be easy right from the beginning. The universe or God, whatever you believe in, will test you. It's going to test you. It's always going to test you. Everything is a test. Everything. You're never gonna outlive or outrun the test. It's always gonna be a test. And the quicker that you understand that, and the quicker, I believe, the quicker that you learn from the mistakes, your failed tests, in some way, the easier life is to adapt to, right? Not necessarily gets easier, but easier to adapt to. So that was my turning point, was realizing that I need to live my purpose to stop feeling these fears. And I got through the test. I remember I said, this is what it takes. Every time I got a test, every time things got hard and I wanted to quit, this is what it takes. This is what it takes. And it is what it took. And now I continue to put myself in that situation. I continue to allow the universe to test me. I take on bigger risks, bigger tasks, more dogs, more animals, more land, more responsibilities. More comes with more tests. You see? That's when I decided. I love you guys. Live your dreams, follow your purpose. You'll see your whole world will change and most of your fears will disappear. Thanks so much. I love you.